Every time I walk through the doors of Rhodes House, I reflect back on one question. Why was I awarded this scholarship? Why was I gifted this opportunity over the many other incredible people I met during my application journey? I know I'm not alone in continuing to ask this question. Maybe some of you in this room today still do too. But now at least I also know that this isn't a bad thing, which is a contrast to my first few days in Oxford when I would scuttle through Rhodes House trying to avoid eye contact, lest someone caught on and realised what a grand mistake had been made and sent me back to New Zealand. Although I must admit there were times in December and January when I was shivering and wet and thinking there would have been nothing better than a flight back to the summer sunshine at home. So uncertainty has been a hallmark of my time as a Rhodes Scholar. But paradoxically, so is certainty itself. And that's what I'd like to talk about. Uncertainty. That feeling of not knowing what lies ahead, how to make sense of the past, whether to say yes or to say no. It's everywhere with us at Oxford. How do we deal with the never-ending invitations to dinners, events, and trips? How could having separate hot and cold taps ever have been a good idea? But more seriously, we must also think about the future. How will humanity respond to climate change? How will artificial intelligence redefine our society? The world is a very different place from when the scholarship was founded. And in its second century, we can expect change just as great, if not more so. But if this external uncertainty was not enough, the Rhodes experience has also given me personal uncertainty more profound than I ever expected. As we get ready to say goodbye to friends who are already going down from Oxford, it becomes striking just how short this time we have really is. How do we make the most of it? Where do we invest our energies? How long do we let our minds and our souls wander in these dreaming spires before refocusing on finishing our degrees? And when we do, what then? Where do we fit into the legacy of Cecil Rhodes, the undeniable plunder and exploitation that underpins our scholarship, but also into the story of service and virtue that has been emerging since those early times? The community of fellow scholars is undoubtedly the heart of the Rhodes experience. But as much as I love them, they have also been great sources of uncertainty for me. The discussions and debates we have constantly are fascinating, whether at the pub, in our college, or in this house. But they've also left me deeply challenged at times, sometimes confused about what are my deepest values, why do I hold them? What is a life well lived? What kind of trade-offs would I be willing to make in order to achieve something? I know I haven't found the answers to any of these yet, but sometimes, as we dance our way through this world, it is not knowing the next step that brings us together. The passion and the intellect of this community is outstanding. With every conversation and each discussion, we open a door to one more point of view, to one more critique for which we were not prepared, and to one more story that moves you to tears. Perhaps the most uncertain task of all is trying to do what I'm doing now, because how could anyone possibly speak candidly on behalf of such a creative and spirited community? I don't believe it can be done perfectly, but perhaps because of this, speaking of uncertainty, in a way, makes some sense. But if all the Rhodes Scholarship did was confuse and disorientate a bunch of previously motivated 20-somethings, I'm not sure it'd be worth your money, your time, or anyone's attention. Luckily, we know this is not all it does. Just as rays of sun sometimes cut through an otherwise overcast Oxford sky, these moments of uncertainty are sometimes pierced by moments of extraordinary clarity, thoughts and feelings of certainty that endure for much longer and with much greater strength than any of our doubts or insecurities. Any of our doubts or insecurities. I believe that here at Oxford I've become more certain than ever in my commitment to fighting the world's fight and continuing to explore what that means. I'm certain that I'm growing personally, intellectually, emotionally. I'm certain that the connections I make here will last a lifetime. For as we expand our minds, we add detail to a map of an uncertain future, and through filling our hearts, we craft a compass with which to navigate it. I believe this experience of grappling with issues to which there are no objective answers of maneuvering between well-argued positions on all sides, of learning to find just some certainty in an uncertain world, is the kind of experience that future leaders should have. It's one of the real gifts that the Rhodes Scholarship provides. For the greatest challenges we face always come wrapped in uncertainty, and those further ahead are not yet known. So if there's one thing that perhaps I could say on behalf of scholars in Oxford, and certainly myself, it is that we are grateful. Grateful for this opportunity. Grateful for the generosity of the benefactors and donors who continue to make it possible. I'm certain that this is the most rewarding and challenging experience of my life so far. And I'm certain there's only just beginning. Thank you.